Now that we have the cloth piece removed, the next step is to move this up a little bit and remove this one. This is that bolt right there is the one that the ram attaches to. So if we follow the ram, you've got the rod coming out and it's attaching to that bolt right there. That is a Torx 40, and I'm going to remove it on both sides. Come on, focus. I'm just going to say that this is the bolt, what it looks like. Once you remove it, it came out pretty easily. So now the bolt is not there anymore. And I was concerned that the hydraulic fluid might, have some pressure in the rod, but in my case, it was not a big deal. And look at this. Now I can actually pull on the rod and the whole thing just pivots. I guess it pivots right here, and that ram obviously is what's carrying the load. So I just want to point out for a second how this area right here is just utterly filled in oil. This is exactly where it would leak. It would come down on that sound deadening material, and then it would just kind of all land and accumulate right there and get all just disgusting. So I'm going to try to do this without getting in the way of the camera. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to mark the lower hydraulic line, and then we're going to use this container to capture whatever fluid might fall and remove the actual line. So I've got a silver Sharpie pen. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark this line up, and that one with the silver marking is to be our lower line. And I'm going to do the same on the other side right there. And so to do this, we're going to need a 10mm and an 11mm. I should have also mentioned that I am wearing safety goggles for this next step, because there is an assumption that there's a possibility that the lines might still have some pressure in it. So again, we've got, now that I have the right parts, got a 10mm and an 11mm wrenches, and I'm going to see if I can pull this off. Okay, so the 10 goes on the line itself, and the 11 is used to, it says it's tidy, loosey. And so what you're doing is you're keeping the line from kinking, but at the same time you are removing it little by little with the wrench. And it looks like it's just kind of snugged on. Doesn't feel like it's really ever too tight. And it's coming off. And we're almost done. Yep. Starting to leak some fluid. Feels like it's loose, but it still needs a wrench. Alright. And there it's disconnected. And then I'm going to do the same on the top now. Okay, so I have both lines removed. Let's see if you can see that. So we got the bottom line down there that's marked. This is the top line, and this is the cylinder, and it's still attached. So I'm going to go ahead and believe that the next step is going to be to remove this bolt right here. This copper bolt right there. So that particular bolt is going to be a 13 millimeter to work here. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't put any torque on it at all and it just came right out. So I believe that this plate comes off right there, and then the cylinder should just be able to slide right out from this point here. Looks like the old ones had a grommet that the new ones don't, so let me put this back. And just for the record, those new ones are filled with fluid. I'm already leaking it all over myself. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate. Here are the old original struts, and I am going to try to show you what I was doing. So right here on the eyelet, I probably shouldn't have done that. Okay, right there is the eye. Come on, focus, focus, focus. So there's the stock, and this one you can see is two pieces. Hopefully you can see that. So this is two pieces, so that one's moving and the other side isn't. So what I did is I just kind of got a flathead screwdriver. So I make a few people cringe, but I'm not going to do too much force. See, I just put the screwdriver in there, just popped it. It came out in two pieces. And now I have the two pieces that I can put. And so there are the two pieces split apart. It comes off relatively easy. There was some foam on the original one on the other side anyway. And now on this side I have it. So I can just essentially pop these two pieces back together on the other side, on the new one. And I'm hoping that that'll help keep it quiet. So here's the eyelet on the new one. And just to kind of show you how this works. And this is pretty simple. You just put that in there, and then I don't think this one matters how you put it in. Just push it in till it snaps. So there I have a container, and we have to remove both sides according to the instructions. So we're going to go ahead and loosen the bottom one. And you'll notice that fluid is coming out. And then we'll go ahead and loosen the top one. And then we'll fully extend it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it upside down. And then, so hopefully you can see this. As I extend it, you can see that the fluid is coming out. Whoops. And you want to extend it all the way. Alright, there it is. To fill it up, I've been using Max ATF. Actually is transmission fluid. I guess this is what it calls for. My reservoir actually said it needed Dextron 3. So what I found is I have a syringe that I filled up with the fluid, and it seems to be working out pretty good for me, this method. What I do is I take off the stopper, and then I am able to put the top of the nozzle into the fill line. Okay, I thought some of you guys might get a kick of how I do it, so I actually have one of these hand pumps that I'm plugging to, or dropping into, and when I pump it, obviously there's a lot of air in it now, but I just thought this was interesting. As I push the fluid into the syringe actually pushes itself back to allow the fluid to go in. So this is the lower line. I'm just going to go ahead and attach it real quick. I guess I am going to do the lines first. So it's really recommended that you start attaching it by hand first, so you don't accidentally do any cross threading or anything like that. So I'm just going to leave it on there loosely and attach the top one. And then this, dang it, goes in there, like so. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off real quick. So this goes right there. We get the copper nut, and we attach it. Now this one was so loose that I was able to just take it off by hand, but I am not going to leave it that loose. I'm gonna go ahead and give it I'm just gonna snug it up so it still moves back and forth, and it's attached. Alright guys, I'm sorry I couldn't really easily show everything that I was doing there, but let me go ahead and show it to you now. So I believe all these lines and all these bolts really just need to be snugged in. So what I did is, come to find out, I didn't actually extend it all the way, so I had to extend it a little further. But I got it in, and I was able to put, let's just do this. That bolt right there, this one right here, right there, that one. I was able to get that one in, and again, I just kept on wrenching it until it got a little bit snug, and then I kind of gave it a little oomph, just a tiny little bit, and then I kind of stopped. And this bolt, I believe you guys saw me install it. That one's already in. And then the hydraulic lines, again, I marked the bottom with the silver. So we got that one done. And I did the same thing. I hand tightened it until it was snug, and then I got the wrench on it, and I just kind of went on it until it kind of came to its own stopping point. I didn't really force it. I didn't really do anything crazy with it. The same here with the one on top. And I believe that this cylinder is now fully installed. I'm going to now work and complete the job on the other side. Here goes nothing. So I'm going to be underneath. I'm going to be holding the top and trying to put it down at the same time so it doesn't drop like it did last time. So key in the ignition. And here we go. Can you hear that? Oh, the bubbles being pushed in there. Alright, now I'm going to try to go back up just because I forgot to do something real quick. So what I should have actually done next is replace these parts, because obviously these are necessary for when the top goes up and down. It needs to be able to stretch. These help keep the top right where it needs to be. So let's go ahead and get these installed real quick. That's one. Okay. Alright. So let's try this again. Key in the ignition. Turn it back one spot. And let's go back up. Okay, it sounds like it's going a little bit low already. So here's the syringe I was using, and I was just putting it inside here, and then what I've been doing is I've been slowly pressing the fluid in. You just want to go real slow until it starts coming back out, which I think it is right now. And just give it just a little bump. And I already put one syringe like this already in there once before. Okay, there it's coming out. So I'm going to back this off a little bit. Alright. I'm going to press down to allow the top to go down. And this is already working out way better than it did before. Oh, there you go. So I knew that it's consumed a lot of fluid. Sounds like it's empty. So we're gonna push more fluid in. Well, and that's all the fluid I had in this syringe. But let's see if I can get it to go back up. It just sounds like it just consumes all that liquid. Alright. And just for grins and giggles, I'm actually looking over here, and you can see I don't see any fluid leaking from the lines there, nor do I see any fluid leaking from the lines over here. Okay. Alright, here we go, putting more fluid in. Oh, there we go. That was all it took. And there you go. Seems like every time we do it, it absorbs more fluid. Alright, so put more fluid in. Okay. And here we go, putting the top up. Now the goal is to keep on doing this until it completely quiets down. And then we know, or until it won't take any more fluid essentially. So we put the top up and we add more fluid. Alright. I think it could take a little bit more, but here we go. Top down. Well, I gotta say, this is starting to feel a little bit better, almost like I don't need to hold the top anymore. Almost looks like it's spitting out all the fluid. That's just crazy. Alright, so let's go back up, because apparently this is not good. Alright. Okay, so this thing keeps on taking more fluid. Oh, there it is. But it seems like it takes less each time I do this. I expect to have a little bit of a mess one way or the other. Guess that's just kind of inevitable. Whoa. I'm gonna go ahead and say that the downside is quite right. That is a lot of fluid that came out there. It's quite a mess. Guess I'm gonna go ahead and wind it all the way up. Okay, try to fill it up one last time. Okay, there it is. Next I'm going to reposition, and I'm going to try to see if I can fit this grommet. This is the stopper. I'm going to see if I can fit it back into the hole. Now I hear that putting this thing back in is probably the hardest part of this whole procedure. So let's see if we can figure out a way to make that work. So in the instructions, they kind of indicated maybe using a screwdriver, so let me try that for once. One time at least. Let's see if I fold a paper towel a couple times. Let me do this. This might be too thick. That's too thick. This is possible that might work. That looks like it's slowly going in. And there we go. Huh. That actually worked. Look at that. Alright. So one final up and down. See if this whole thing is working as it should. And this time I'll put the camera where you can see the whole car. All the way down. All the way up. One more time for good measure. All the way down. I'm not exactly happy with how it slams there at the end, but it does work.